This episode is with Cole Conrad, one of my older brothers. Cole is a husband and a father of two young boys. Cole and his family live in Bozeman, Montana. He is a senior vice president at Milwaukee Tools. He graduated from San Diego State with a degree in international business and a minor in Spanish. In this podcast, we discuss growing up in the foothills of Los Angeles, restoring classic cars, and playing competitive sports, as well as learning about culture and the world through competitive soccer. We discussed his family and some of the influences in his life. We talk about his career and the urge to learn, grow, and advance himself. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Cole Conrad.
I'll start with where we grew up. So we grew up in Pasadena, California, about 20 miles outside of LA. My parents had a really cool house in the foothills. Didn't feel like you're really in LA. Obviously, when I was growing up, it was home, it was LA. But, now when I tell people I grew up outside LA, everybody thinks like huge city, concrete jungle. But that's not what it felt like. My parents lived on I guess still do live on like a little one-lane road. Mm-hmm. Hard to get to, like really kind of windy to get to.
Did Mark drive his tractor trailer home
Yep.
every day? So are you driving home the tractor trailer and parking it?
Yeah, and we'll get to that.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was just wondering. I don't know if there's room for it where you grew up.
Yeah. This neighborhood had like 26 houses or something like that. 50, I don't remember. Between 25 and 50 houses. There's a little creek, like a ravine, that kind of runs through the middle of it. And I would say it's kind of, for me as a kid, like the center point of the neighborhood. Didn't always have water running through it. When it did, it was mostly a trickle. But there's frogs in there, tadpoles, all kinds of squirrels. Periodically, you'd hear of somebody seeing a mountain lion or a bobcat. You'd see bears. So anyway, as a kid, it was a really cool place to grow up because my parents didn't. They let us roam. Not that we were like reckless, but they let us roam a lot. And it was me and Kyle and Chase and a couple other neighborhood kids that were similar age. And my recollection is climbing trees, catching frogs, riding bikes, being kids. So not really what you think of when you say, "Oh, I grew up in LA" or "I grew up 20 miles from home."
What is the term latchkey kids? Is that right? Like you guys just kind of were on your own?
I wouldn't say we were on our own. My parents were home. One of my parents were typically home, and they'd check in on us.
But you guys were kind of like figuring it out.
But, yeah, and the rule was you have to be within whistle distance of my mom. My mom had this really loud whistle. I'm doing this because this is what she used to do. Put both pinkies in her mouth, and if she whistled more than a couple times, she knew we weren't within whistle distance and we were in trouble. But we were pretty good kids. I mean, we probably did some things we shouldn't have done, but we weren't like, setting off fireworks or lighting people's houses on fire or anything. We were just screwing around being kids.
Did you test the whistle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the whistle thing was for real. And mom and dad were always home, but they didn't watch us at certain ages.
They weren't helicopter things.
No, like they didn't. We might have been 500 yards away, right, like up the creek with the neighborhood kids, and we were looking for lizards or frogs or tadpoles or rocks or whatever. And I would say 90% of up until we were probably like 13 years old, we didn't have shoes on.
Yeah, and we
were just barefoot.
Yeah, and I think one of the important features, I think it's changed based on what my parents are saying because they still live in that neighborhood. But one of the important features was it was a blue collar neighborhood. When you say grew up in the foothills and 20 miles outside of LA, not like mansions, not like huge properties with fences and gates. Down to earth people with kids that were down to earth, that just want to have fun.
That's very much the vibe I get from your parents.
Yeah.
Just very down to earth people.
Yeah.
That's really
like next door neighbor was a school teacher, right?
Yeah.
So that's who lived in the neighborhood was a school teacher.
Yeah, she was my first grade teacher. Kyle's first grade teacher was our next door neighbor, which is really cool. You don't think of LA that way either.
She was my first grade teacher twice.
Kyle had
Oh,
first
really?
grade,
Yeah.
first grade twins.
See,
He couldn't spell the. He couldn't say the. To huh is the joke.
this checks out to current day.
Yeah.
So he,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Our next door neighbor was our first grade teacher, which you wouldn't think of as LA, and within the neighborhood where our first grade teacher could live.
All right, so what era? So this is like 90s essentially. Around this.
Yeah, well, I was born in '85, late '85. So yeah, I mean, I was in Roman at 3, right?
Yeah, mid
But
90s.
probably 5, 6 to 10 or 12 were the best years.
What's the gap between Chase, you, and Kyle?
Chase was born in July of '82, so about 3.5 years. 16 months.
You guys are almost Irish twins.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what was like growing up. What were your memories? Those are my best memories. Growing up in the neighborhood, chasing lizards, climbing trees.
What's the wildest thing? Like, what's the biggest trouble you guys got? Say before you could drive.
Dude, I don't know. Did I ever get in trouble? I mean, like for anything big?
Do you remember anything that you didn't get in trouble for?
Yeah. I mean, yes, we used to get in trouble a lot, but not for. I don't think we really did anything too bad.
What would we get in trouble for?
Breaking shit at the house. Breaking the landscape lights with soccer balls.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Scratching dad's car with the handlebars on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking soccer ball into one of his cars. That type of stuff. Nothing major. Just like shit the kids do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you remember anything major you got in trouble for before 16?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
Nothing major, but there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think we probably didn't. We got into like a hockey phase for a very short period of time. I think the reason why was because pucks are really hard, and I think we realized that that pucks were going to cause a problem, and so we
Caused problems with them.
Yeah, so we were like, all right, let's stick to balls that are more soft. We played baseball, but I don't remember us knocking too many times. Like, we'd throw a baseball, it could go over our head or to the left or right of us and smack a car. That didn't happen very often, and so I think we were lucky, but that didn't happen very often.
Yeah, one of the things, and I didn't get in trouble for, but one of the things that I remember us generally getting in trouble for was Blake.
Yeah.
Chase's friend Blake. So we had BB guns as kids. You probably had a BB gun. I don't know if the kids have BB guns anymore, although one of my best friends, Jason, I think you met him. For Carson's first birthday, got Carson a BB gun. So I got it in the closet for his first birthday. I got a good picture of that. I'll have to show you. But we had BB guns.
He's a friendly guy.
Yeah, we'd shoot like crows or
Squirrels.
Yeah, squirrels. We probably shouldn't be doing that, but we did. But one of my older brother's friends, grabbed our BB gun and shot a car with it. That wasn't good.
Yeah, we didn't really get in trouble for that though.
No, we didn't. I think Chase and Blake did. Yeah.
Yeah.
They stopped them soon and realized.
Oh yeah.
I got in so much trouble with my. Yeah, they're not good. When you're a kid with a gun. That's too good to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you turned 16. When do you get your license when you're 16?
Oh yeah.
What's your first car?
I remember the day the first car was Chase's first car and Kyle's first car. Was it? Yeah, Kyle's first car.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad, he still has this car.
That's cool.
My dad has two 1956 Ford pickups. One of them he bought in 1978, so it was only 22 years old. It's probably a beater at that point.
I'm trying to think if you bought a car now, it was 22 years old, 2002.
Mm-hmm. So 2000, yeah, that's a good way to put it. 2002 Ford pickup.
Uh-huh.
But this was a 56 Ford pickup. My dad had one that he bought in 1978, and then coincidentally there was a neighbor, I don't know, 10 or 12 doors up that had another 1956 Ford pickup that didn't run. It was under a tarp and needed a whole lot of work. Well, my dad's always been into cars.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's sick.
Well, hold on. My dad's always
Can you
been,
show the audience though?
We could put it in the show notes.
No, we can't.
show the audience, Colin.
All right.
Okay.
So my one of our neighbors had a 56 Ford pickup sitting in their driveway underneath the tarp, in a bunch of different pieces. And my dad already had one of them. So he said, oh, I'd like to buy that from you. And I don't know how much he paid for it. He couldn't have paid much. It was beat. It was beat. And this is probably early 90s.
I met North. He didn't pay much.
Yeah, he didn't pay much.
He didn't have much.
Yeah, and over the years, he just fixed it up. Put a new set of tires on it.
Did he do that pickup?
No.
Yeah, he had, then he had the motor rebuilt, which it's got nothing special motor, but he got it running. And he used it as like a daily driver. And it was brown. My dad did paint it the first time. It was brown, this nasty brown. The body work was horrible, and he looked like a redneck driving that thing. He probably drove it that way for 10 years, maybe. And then he decided, I want to get this thing painted. Probably saved up some money, and he got it painted and put a new set of wheels and tires on it.
Auto manual?
Automatic. It's not a fast truck at all. It's probably got about 150 horsepower.
So he got the motor. Got the motor for free at a yard sale. It still runs today. And then the transmission, he put like a Mustang 2 C4 transmission into it. Like nothing special, but it went from a stock 3 on the tree. And then when we put a V8 in it, that transmission wouldn't work. So then he got freaking probably a C4 transmission for nothing, a couple $100. And put that in, and then it's literally been like that. Whatever since 1990.
Yeah, but it wasn't yellow like that in 1990.
Right, but I'm saying that the transmission and motor are the same.
Yeah, transmission, motor, suspension, everything all the same. It's got all stock suspension. It drives like a 1956 car.
This thing still runs now.
The steering wheel is like a bus steering wheel. It's humongous because it doesn't have power steering. It doesn't have power brakes.
It's kind of scary to drive.
If you've never driven it, probably you'd freak out. But we grew up on it, right? So has drum 1956 drum brakes, no power steering. The suspension is absolutely terrible on it.
What year is your C10?
A 68.
Yeah, because I drove that thing. I drove the thing once or twice, and I'm like generally essentially driving a brand new truck. I get in that his 67, and I'm like, yo.
So that my 67 rides and drives, brakes, everything more than 50% better than that truck. So it's like day and night.
Yeah, it's night and day.
Yeah. So you go down the road, right, and you can do this with the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And you're still going straight.
That's actually like a 2002 Ford too. I would know.
Yeah. So that was the first car for Chase, and then it was the first car for me. And I remember we had to drive down the hill to go to school, and I remember that morning. I think I did my driver's test in the morning, so I missed the first couple periods of school, do my driver's test, which was cool. Got it, went home. My mom drove me home, picked the truck up, and then I remember shaking because I was so nervous, and I was felt so cool. This is so exhilarating. I remember that feeling.
Have you been driving with a permit?
Yeah.
Prior to this? Yeah.
Oh yeah, but being in the car by yourself, as a high school kid, fuck yeah, I'm gonna pull up in this badass yellow truck like that. You know how it is. You're 16 years old.
I can vaguely but vividly remember the first time driving with my permit, and you kind of shit your pants because you're going 6 miles down the road. Damn, I gotta keep this thing between these lines.
Yeah.
But I do remember that day, the day I got my license too. I'm almost like, oh my God, I'm free now. I could go anywhere. Get in this truck and drive, and it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, I was freaking out. But yeah.
What was your first car?
Ford at 350. I bought it before I was 16, and then it was just.
Was it new?
No, it was used. It was as we say, 2002. I think it's a 99. It was a 99 F-350.
Did you get your license on your 16th birthday? Or close to it?
Close to it. Like I was like, yeah, I was chomping at the bit. I was ready to go. I think I got my permit and then I got my license like 2 or 3 months after. So I got a limited license. So just stuck on the farm. I was ready to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did this truck have a full bed on it? Or
It's just a regular cab, 8-foot bed. Like,
how'd you fit hay bales back?
stack them up.
Sure.
Yeah. It was on a flatbed.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, continue. Back to you. All right, you got the yellow pickup.
Can I stop us?
What's that?
Can I stop us?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you got?
Did you guys say that we're in a new place and why? You guys have never done a podcast here.
Oh yeah. No, we didn't mention that.
So I want to say thank you. You guys have been trying to do this with me for over 6 months. Thanks for moving the show
Absolutely.
up to my house, accommodating me on a Friday night after my kids go to bed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to you live from Conrad's house.
Actually, I'm not going to
Let me put my address out on YouTube.
No.
Anyway, yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
We've been looking forward to doing this. So
Yeah, thank you.
we're glad we can make it happen.
Yeah. Easy. Anytime.
So yeah, I drove that yellow pickup for a couple years, which was awesome. A couple minor dings, no major accidents, but a couple minor dings, which Dad wasn't happy about.
What happened? It's like door dings and shit?
No, remember one time I locked it up on the fence at the house.
I got
So-
this, but keep going.
What do you mean the bumper?
Tell the
bumper
Hey,
hit the fence?
Kyle, I got a question about Tim. He's beat 6 times since he's been here.
Ready?
Yeah, does he have diabetes?
I don't know. He doesn't normally pee a lot. I don't know. Normally I'm the one who's peeing all the time.
Maybe too many cold beer.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you locked it. Like,
one time I accidentally stuck it on the fence.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
I kind of remember now, but
Yeah.
Just like the running board did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the running board.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a minor thing. I mean, that running board was fucking bent.
Oh, was it?
Oh yeah.
Did you have to go get it repaired?
Yeah.
Your paint and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I remember that I thought you like rubbed it and there was like a little scuff on the running board.
No.
How the fuck did you do that? Just weren't paying attention. It's kind of hard to hit that fence.
If you remember when you back down the hill,
I remember.
You had to back into our driveway
Yeah.
and then pull in.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it was like late at night. And one time, I don't know, it just slipped my mind. I didn't back into our driveway. I just backed down the hill and then tried to gun it and cut it in.
Oh,
And I fucking locked it up on the fence. I don't know why I would have done that, but I did.
whatever. Got it. And then there was one kid who scratched the back of the cab, I remember,
Mm-hmm.
after like gym class or something.
Yeah, he was acting like an idiot. And
Yeah, the belt buckle.
You didn't do anything?
I'm good. He
The stupid things you remember.
yeah,
But I remember that was like a big deal.
It was a really big deal. It's a huge scratch. And it was a big deal because Dad contacted the kid, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Just to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, it's only 4 times I've taken a piss.
You got that diabetes.
What? Explain.
One of the symptoms of having diabetes is having to go pee. And I'm not saying you have diabetes.
Yeah, clear. It depends, man. Some days I'll like go the whole day going piss a long time. Some days, this is what I've always realized, and I'm not going to go on a long tangent about this. It depends on how much sleep I got the night before.
Really?
If I've slept a lot, I won't have to piss a lot. If I don't sleep a lot, I'll have to piss every hour, 2 hours.
Interesting.
All right, so
I don't know if this is the path you want to go down.
absolutely. Okay. I got a question for you.
Okay. Well, I'll finish the story about cars, at least related to the first car. I had a friend, Nick Tangora, who's unfortunately no longer with us. In the back of his house was an old Mustang, 65 Mustang that was primer gray. that had been sitting there probably 10 years, maybe a little less, also underneath the tarp. There's a feed. And it was a Ford and had a nice motor. The only thing redeeming quality of this car was it had a nice motor and transmission, manual 4-speed transmission. I think it's called a top loader. My dad was interested in it because of the motor and transmission for one of his pickups because it's a drop-in. And I was interested in it because it was a Mustang. And it was cooler than a truck in my mind. So anyway, we bought this Mustang for $1,500 in 2002, maybe. And I still have that car. It's in the garage.
So what year is that?
1965. We did a bunch of work to it over the years. Hasn't really been touched since 2008. But
What do you mean did a bunch of work to it?
got it painted.
You did everything to it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
Yeah, we did a bunch of work to it. Yeah.
Yeah. We call that thing the rust tank because it had rust everywhere. Like you think every single place you could have rust, it had it. And so like they ended up, and it's like that's how it starts, right? It's like it doesn't look so bad. And then you get into it and you start to have more and more rust. So that thing had rust in every single, fender and panel.
You should probably pull up a picture of the Mustang.
Oh, I can find it. But anyway, yeah, they work on it for years.
Uh-oh, I feel like you're going to hit me with a zinger.
Oh, no, this is a question. So, you're 16, you're driving around this sweet yellow pickup truck. You're a married man now, but what was the lady scene looking like back then?
So let's clarify a couple things. I'm 38. I weigh 155 pounds, and I'm 5'8"
Okay,
on a good day.
good. So that's taller than me on a good day.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
So,
I was 16. If I'm 5'8" at 38, I was probably 5'2".
okay, yeah.
5'1",
Depending on when you grew.
and I was probably 130 pounds.
I was just asking if you had a
What's that
girlfriend, man.
One of our mics is shaking. Your mic's probably shaking off the table.
Oh
Yeah, 'cause you're not in the. There you go.
was no. Sorry about that, audience. I know there's a lot of listening. Maybe someday.
All right, hit it. You never know, man.
I thought it was pretty damn cool. I thought it was pretty cool. I was kind of a cocky 16-year-old. So I had fun. I was trying to chase girls. Didn't have as much luck as I would have liked to have had. Didn't have as much luck as I led on. But I had a lot of fun. And I met some girls, but yeah, it was good. I didn't have a girlfriend at 16.
Work I did. Either way, worked out great. You're married now to a lovely woman and
Yeah.
2 great kids. So
For sure.
all's well and ends well.
For sure.
Kyle, how do you remember any of this? You got anything you want to put in there?
With the Mustang?
Just the upbringing to the whole.
We can go back too. We cut through a lot of stuff, too.
We'll get into it.
I mean, I remember like working on the Mustang all the time.
All right, but we're still in the Ford. We're still in the Ford pickup.
Oh, okay. You want to go back to that?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was asking. You and ladies.
Let's just talk about what it was like being 16, where I was at.
How far are you from downtown Los Angeles?
20 miles, 21 maybe.
20 miles,
20 miles.
45 minutes.
Okay.
But let's talk about what life was like when we were 10, 12, 16 years old, whatever. Like Kyle said, we played baseball growing up. We played soccer. For us, when we started to get to middle school and high school, we ended up all playing soccer and pretty much stopped playing baseball. But when I say we played soccer, we played soccer. We all played on traveling teams. So it consumed us in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. I don't know how the hell my parents did it because we were freaking all over the place. Practices Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then games Saturday, Sunday.
For all three of us.
For all three of us, yeah.
Does Chase still play now?
Yeah.
And are you still playing in that league with Kyle?
Mhm.
You guys are still actively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
As
play.
much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I probably play. How many hours did I play last year?
I don't know, you played a lot in indoor this past season.
I played a lot of indoor. I didn't play as much outdoor. I was traveling too much. But
Yeah.
we traveled a lot playing soccer, which is great for us. All over Southern California. Within an hour and a half, um, we were all over the place all the time. And so when I was 16, 3/4 of the year I was doing traveling soccer. And then the other quarter of the year I was doing high school soccer, which is really, I had a lot of fun playing high school soccer. It was really fun. So just imagine, our parents are running us around all over the place, all at the same time.
Especially before we had our driver's license, right? So like literally we have 3 practices then to drop kids off in that might be 3 hours away from each other. And they have to do that 3 days a week. And we'd all have practice on the same day. And then we'd be like super far away from each other. So that was,
Yeah,
I think that was wild for a couple of years, and then Chase got his license, and that relieved my parents. But then that would be me and him. Like mom would take me to practice, dad would take him to practice. Then they'd switch,
Yeah.
right? And so like you practice super far away for a couple of years. I practiced super far away for several years.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a ton of work for my parents after.
But I think they enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
I think we enjoyed it. Soccer was great for us. Kept us in shape, kept us busy. You're part of something bigger. You learn how to work on be a part of a team. You learn discipline. We had some really great coaches. We were playing very competitive soccer. Really great coaches that not only teach you about soccer, but teach you about life and the important things. So it was great. Great.
I think that's one of the main things kids can take away from sports. Everything you just mentioned. It is wild though if you think about, and you probably will think about this the most because you've got 2 young boys, but what your parents do. Because my mother, there's 4 of us. We all played baseball.
Oh, I met your mom.
Yeah.
And cool.
Yeah, like she, and it was just my mom, like after my father passed, and what she would do to allow us all to get to our games and stuff.
Yeah.
And I can barely get myself to what I need to do.
It's a sacrifice for sure.
Yeah. So,
but it's good for your kids.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a drink.
Yeah. All right, let's talk shit about Cole. He's walking.
He's gonna be right there.
You guys need anything?
No, I'm good.
We could do an interview for you sometime, pal.
We can do that.
We do. Hey, there's supposed to be the Northern Lights.
Oh, really?
What time?
At midnight. Too late.
2 hours. All right. So, did any of you or all 3 of you brothers think about or like dream about taking soccer professionally?
Oh, I think I can't speak for Kyle. I dreamed about it. Yeah, for sure. Would have loved that to happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're just looking around, not saying anything.
He's the guest, so we'll let him answer the question.
Well,
Yeah, I would have loved to play professionally.
I still think I can do it.
Yeah. I don't think I was disciplined enough at the time. And, but yeah, I mean, we can talk about that. Cole's got several, I don't know.
Handful.
I guess he's got a handful of guys that he played with that were extremely successful and played professionally in other countries and in the U.S. and you see him on TV every week now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's several guys that he played with regularly that,
they went a long way. Played on the U.S. national team.
They literally just retired a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've made an entire career out of it.
I kind of want to come watch one of these adults.
Well, I've heard to be underwhelmed.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 10 years ago it'd been all
I've
right.
heard they get pretty competitive.
They're fun. That's what it's for, man. So yeah, man, we played a lot of soccer. We had a lot of fun. We played super competitively. It defined my childhood, for sure. Soccer defined my childhood in a good way.
Was there like all-star teams essentially and all that kind of stuff? How did that work?
Early, yeah.
The way travel, like the travel ball worked when we were growing up is different now, the way I understand it. But basically, it's like it's set up just like the kind of English Premier League is in Europe, where it's very different than like the sports in the United States. So like if you are, yeah, there's let's say there's in baseball, right? How many teams are in baseball? How many teams are in the American League?
15.
Okay, so there's 15. So what would happen would be if you get in the bottom four of that 15, you get relegated to the minor leagues. So that entire team, right, goes to a lower division. And so it keeps the competition super high, right? So it's like the best of the best play in the best league. And so that's kind of how the league that we grew up playing in was if you played on a good team, you went up a league, right? You played in a more competitive league. And if you got good enough to stay on if your team was good enough to stay in that
As
league,
only as a team, not as a player.
no, as a team.
You could leave and go to another team, though.
Yeah, you could.
Okay.
So we played in a super competitive league that was like that. So when you say all-star teams, it's like the best of the best kept going up or stayed at the top, right? And then if you play on a team that didn't do well, and the whole team got relegated to the lower division.
Yeah, and most of the teams that we played on, say we played competitively for 8 years, 10 to 18, right?
Yeah.
We were in the top league. All of us were in the top league for the majority of those 8 years, right?
Yeah, I didn't play in the top league for many years, but I made it kind of towards the end of my kind of career.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but you and Chase were playing at the top for the last 4 or 5 years of playing whatever before you went to college.
Yeah.
Is Mark and Gail, they're both into soccer too?
They are. They love it. Yeah. They didn't play growing up, but yeah, they like it a lot. They still watch it. Yeah.
Is that something you guys all bond over?
Oh yeah.
Family?
Yeah.
For sure.
I think it was interesting, like growing up in a big city like Los Angeles and then growing up in Southern California. You can play soccer year round, right? And then Southern California is just like a melting pot of cultures. So I would say that was also a huge. So we talked about discipline and teamwork and all those things that you learn on a team, but we learned about the world with the people that we were on, because it would be like there's a Brazilian on your team, there's there's Mexican folks on your team, there's Argentinians, there's Europeans, and so like all of a sudden you're like their parents are first generation Americans and their kids are on your team, and so you got like a trip around the world when you would play soccer, and our coaches were always like from different countries and stuff like that. So I ultimately think that was probably another huge benefit of like doing that. It's like you just learned about different cultures, different people, and when you add that along with competition, I think there's like a sweet spot there.
Probably especially because it's soccer. It's such a global sport.
Yeah.
It's so big just across the world. Not a lot of other sports are. But they're either just American sports or just European sports.
Yeah.
Soccer's so global.
Yeah.
That's probably what makes that even more specific to California and soccer.
Yeah.
Probably just the perfect spot for both of those.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I thought that's exactly how baseball was with my family. Everyone in my family plays baseball or softball. I don't know, it's like part of your family. There's a sport or something that kind of bonds your entire family. For sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So where did soccer take off after high school? You kept playing in college, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I went to San Diego State for college. I did not unfortunately have the opportunity to play soccer in college. Didn't get offered to play on any colleges, but I did play. We had a club team, so not like an NCAA sanctioned team, but a club team that actually Chase played on, because Chase went to San Diego State. So when he was a senior, I was a freshman, and that's I got introduced to the team, and that was really fun. Still pretty competitive, not as competitive as NCAA, but really fun. And I did that all 4 years. And it's how I met my friends, that were friends throughout college, and I'm still friends with some of those people that I played with in college. So yeah, we played most of the year, I would say, year round in college, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
You guys didn't go to the same school.
We traveled. I went to Pensacola, Florida, for a tournament.
Okay.
We partied. We had a lot of fun in Pensacola, Florida, which is kind of a dump, to be honest. But yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Shout out to Pensacola, Florida. Yeah, you guys had a good run there.
We were a good team.
Club team, yeah.
Yeah, we were a good team.
Yeah. You guys would have been really good had you guys had taken it real seriously and trained and all that. But
it's hard. It's hard to take
it was
serious
recreational
in college.
So it was more recreational.
Yeah, it's more recreational. It's hard to take it serious because everybody wants to party,
Mm-hmm.
and that was fine. The balance we had was good. We played really hard and had a lot of fun.
What did you study?
International business.
Is that what your degree is in?
Yeah, can I tell a story about soccer then?
Yeah, sorry.
You're just bringing back memories.
Yeah, well, that's
So we
That's
we played on this club team. Most of the games were in Southern California, but we had tournaments sometimes in Northern California, sometimes in Pensacola, Florida. One of the state tournaments was in a town called Stockton, California. You ever heard of Stockton, California?
I think so. But only from a TV show.
Okay, it's about an hour south of Sacramento. What's the name of that college there?
University of the Pacific.
University of the Pacific. I don't know if they're talking about the Pacific Ocean or some other Pacific, but it's not near the ocean. It's flat.
It's a shitty town.
It's one of the. This is a public podcast.
You can say whatever you want.
One of the. Yeah, I know, but I want to be respectful. One of the towns with the highest crime in the state of California. We looked forward to going there every year because of this tournament. It was fun. It was travel. You carpooled up.
It was a big tournament for the club teams across the state of California. So like all the big schools would have a club team underneath their NCAA team, and it was a big tournament they had every year. And so it was a big weekend.
Yeah, it was a big weekend. It was fun. One of the times we went up there, we stayed in the Motel 6. And you got 4 guys to a room. We were in Stockton, California. I already mentioned it's one of the towns with the highest crime. We'll have a few beers. We had a game the next day. We had a few beers. Went to bed. Wake up probably 1 or 2 in the morning to gunshot right outside. You remember?
I wasn't there.
But do you remember the story?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about 1 gunshot. I'm not talking about 2 gunshots. I'm talking about a shootout. People running around, screaming, and we're trying to sleep. We freak out. I'm in bed with another dude. Yeah, I'm in bed with another dude.
I'm already freaked out.
His name is Rasan Sampson. And he's a great dude. He's from Belize.
By the way, Rasan's blacker than black.
He's a black dude, but he's a great dude.
You're
We both jumped out of bed, and he said, "Was those gunshots?" And I said, "Fuck yeah!" So we run into the closet. Now we go from 2 dudes in a bed, next to 2 dudes in a bed, to 4 dudes in a small closet in a Motel 6, scared shitless because we don't have guns on us, and there's a bunch of people shooting at each other, running around screaming and yelling. Long story short, everything worked out. We were fine. But that's a pretty good story.
That was probably that's going to be the official clip for this podcast. Last 45 minutes of that. All right, so now the soccer tournament, I guess.
I don't think we won it. I don't remember what happened, but I don't think we won the tournament.
You guys go to this every year?
Yeah.
All right, so back to what you studied.
I studied international business, the minor in Spanish. And Kyle talked about us being fortunate enough to spend time with other cultures because of soccer, and he's right.
Well, yeah, as you just.
I developed a really strong interest in Latin culture and Spanish language. I played soccer with Mexican people. There's a lot of Mexican people in Southern California, but Hondurans, Renee and Carlos, and several other people just from different parts of the country, parts of the world. That was really cool. I learned a little bit of kind of dirty Spanish to start, bad words. As a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid, and then took a lot of people took Spanish in high school. In SoCal, I don't take Spanish in high school.
Pretty cool, but
Yeah. I took Spanish in high school, and I was pretty good at it. And so I just kept doing it. You're supposed to do 2 years of Spanish. I did 4 in high school. I think I got into like AP Spanish, and I'm like, well, shit, I just keep this going.
Are
So
you fluent in Spanish?
I was 15 years ago.
You are a little bit, Kyle, right? You could,
I'm not fluent.
but you can.
I can get by when I'm traveling for a short period of time because the questions and conversations that you have were repetitive, and so I've learned those same phrases and stuff like that. But like, I can't talk about social or political issues or economic issues that are happening in the world in Spanish.
Yeah.
So the topic and subject for me is very limited.
Fools me every time you start.
Yeah, I can fool people for about 6 minutes.
You can fool basic white dudes that grew up on a farm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that are homeschooled and never good Spanish.
Watch it. All right, so what else in college? Got any other good stories? Up to 100.
I'm sure we got to figure out how to dig them out. But yeah, I studied business and Spanish.
He lived in Spain for about 9 months.
That was part of your
Yeah,
college.
I think if I can think of anything interesting. San Diego State was a cool school to go to. Kind of known as a party school, although by the time I got there, it was more tame. But kind of a mix of like a commuter school, people that commute that are from San Diego versus people that moved down there. I was one of the people that moved down there, although it was only 2 hours. There were a lot of people that moved from Northern California. But
He lived off of Defiance Street.
yeah, it had kind of a party culture, and we like to drink. We didn't. I don't want to speak for Kyle, but we didn't do hard drugs or anything. We didn't party that hard, but we liked to drink. We drank a lot. But I think most people in college in that era did. I think probably people in college still do. I don't know. But I was a decent student. I would say like a 3.0 to 3.2, 3.3. I don't remember exactly what my GPA was. We went down to Mexico a lot. So Mexico is about 20 miles from where my school was. Before I was 21. In Mexico, you can drink when you're 18. So we'd go down there periodically. I probably went down there 10 or 12 times.
Did you ever go to a place called TD's?
Yeah.
What was TD's? Oh.
Titties. So, you go down to TJ, Tijuana, Rosarito. We go down there sometimes for the weekend, sometimes just for the night, just to get drunk and have fun.
What's just a city bar?
Yeah. There was actually buses from school through the border to the nightclubs, which were dangerous.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty, it was kind of dangerous. One time I went down there for a day trip with some buddies. You go down there just to let's go have some tacos. We go down and have some tacos and get real fucked up. And you go to the TD bar during the day and you're fucking hammered,
And you're 19.
18, 19, yeah. And we gotta go. We get out of this titty bar. We gotta fucking go. It's probably 4 or 5 o'clock.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon. We hop in a taxi. We hop in a taxi. It's like 20, 25 minutes up to the border. I'm fucked up. And we get within about 5 miles of the border. And I blow lunch in the taxi. And when I say blow lunch, I mean I threw up all over this taxi. And for some reason, this taxi driver didn't notice. And we're freaked out because these taxi drivers are notorious for not being okay with that. These taxi drivers have baseball bats or weapons in their trunk. But anyway, I threw up in a freaking.
So in Mexico, they fucking beat you if you throw.
Yeah, because he has to
in your car.
He has to clean it. Yeah, he's not taking it to like a car wash and paying somebody to clean it. He's got to clean it like throw up. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff we did, before 21. A couple times we went down to this town called San Felipe, which Kyle's been to. San Felipe is about 5 hours south of San Diego on the the Sea of Cortez, which if you think about, Baja California, there's like a little, do you know what that is?
No.
In Mexico, there's this little place called Baja California. It's like a peninsula.
Okay.
It's south of California, Baja. If you speak Spanish. But San Felipe is cool because it's on the interior, which is the Sea of Cortez, which is beautiful.
So it's almost like, think about this like point of land. It's like this finger, right? And so the Pacific Ocean's on this side. And then as you go down to the bottom, there's a whole other sea that comes way up.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like this kind of really interesting, like from a top topographical standpoint, it's like super interesting.
How tall are those mountains that you went to? The 10,000 peaks.
They're about 10,000 feet. Anyway, so it's kind of cool because there's a whole like, I guess I would call it, it's not an ocean, it's a sea, right? But
it's a really intriguing place. It's a desert, but there's a mountain that's almost
there's
10,000.
There's an entire mountain range that's fucking huge in between these two bodies of water, between the Pacific Ocean and between the Sea of Cortez. There's a huge mountain range that runs the entire length of Baja California.
And one of the cool things about the Sea of Cortez, and I don't want to speak out of turn or speak incorrectly, but Sea of
That's
Cortez.
all we can do. Sort of a podcast.
Yeah, I know, public. The Sea of Cortez is one of the most biodiverse oceans in the world. It has creatures, fish, and mammals that are non-existent anywhere else on the planet. Those are really, really interesting.
It has these like super like rare dolphins that only exist in the Sea of Cortez, and it has whale sharks in it. Yeah, there's some really interesting fish and animals that are only exist in the Sea of Cortez.
Right.
That's probably
So you know what the other interesting? I don't know. I could make it up. I don't know. But the other interesting thing about this Sea of Cortez, you ever heard of the Colorado River? One of the biggest rivers in the West Coast. It dumps into the northern end of the Sea of Cortez when it has water that gets that far, which is not very often. It's obviously, the Colorado River is a pretty controversial river because the state of California, the city of Los Angeles, steals water from there. A bunch of other municipalities steal water from there. So the water doesn't really make it down there, or not much water really makes it down there compared to, say, 100 years ago.
Just because they need it to support the 20, 30, 90 million people there.
So anyway, spent a lot of time in Mexico. You ever heard of the Baja races? Baja 500, Baja 1000?
Yeah, vaguely.
There's some badass desert races that happen down there. Several a year, about probably more than this, but 4 that I know of, either 250, the 500, 1000, maybe 3 a year. That run through that area. And one of my best friends from high school, Cole is his name, is an off-road enthusiast and has some friends that race in those races, and I was fortunate enough to tag along with those guys and just have a freaking blast down in Mexico. And I got some crazy stories from some of those trips that I probably won't share. Not that we did anything wrong, just I don't want to talk about people behind their back.
Yeah. All right. I'll just hold this up for me. That was kind of how I was picturing it when you were talking about it.
We got to get you down there, Tim.
Picture the.
You'd have a blast.
Gotta get this farm boy out there.
You'd have a blast.
We'll get you speaking Spanish pretty quickly.
I don't think so. I'm down. Sorry to continue, Cole. Your buddy Cole.
Yeah, Cole was one of my best friends in high school, and again still does a lot of off-roading, Glamis and other places in the desert, SoCal.
What do these rigs look like if you're racing them?
There's a mix. The guy that Cole introduced me to, his name's Kurt Gear. Kurt races dune buggies.
And his last name's Gear.
Geer. Kurt races dune buggies.
Just asking.
Yeah. He's good dude and has some cojones on. I don't know if you know what cojones are.
Big boss.
Yeah.
Boss boss.
anytime you're doing, I would say any faster than 65 miles an hour on a dirt road in the desert, you have some components.
It's more than a dirt road, though.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than a dirt road.
Yeah.
But these guys do like 85 or 90 on a fucked up road.
Right.
And they're just,
they're not really road.
They're ripping. In these, it's like call it $1 million dune buggy. And they're fucking hauling.
Yeah, some of them are $1 million.
Some of them are not.
Some of them are.
Some of them are a couple $100,000.
Some of them are stock. There's different classes they do. Trophy trucks are several $1 million, but all the way down to like stock cars.
Yeah, they do have stock classes.
Branding.
Yeah, nothing that was in a race, but the guy I was telling you about, Cole, he was kind enough, and his dad was kind enough to invite us out several times, dozens of times, out to the desert to drive their dune buggies with Volkswagen motors, 1600cc Volkswagen motors, open wheel cars. Yeah, and we had a fucking blast. We had a blast driving those things. Some of the most fun I've ever had driving those things.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, they're fun. Really fun. And at times we had more drinks than we should have driving those things. Now, I don't recall doing anything super unsafe, but we had some fun.
Yeah.
There might be a reason why I don't recall doing anything.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like a whole culture, right? So like there's a whole, off-roading culture that's, it's pretty extravagant in and of itself, right? Like, people, will go to the lake, right? And they have a super nice boat, right? It's the same thing, right? People have very extravagant, awesome dune buggies, and they're, it's a toy, right? They spend $100,000, right? And these things have 600, 700 horsepower, and they pop wheelies out in the middle of the desert, and they're fucking awesome. Like when you ride in one of these buggies, they are very special, because something that would destroy, even something with like somewhat of a modified suspension. When I say destroy, like parts would fly off your truck or whatever. These things just it's like you're riding a Cadillac, and there's literally, it's like a 3-foot hole that tire went down, and like the tires go away from you. You cannot see them in your vision. They go away because they have so much travel, and then they come up above your head, and then they go away, and they come up, and they go away, and you're just smooth right across. It's crazy, and you're doing 65, 70 miles an hour, just like tires are going like this, up and down, up and down. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Super cool.
What year did we go down? 2018 or 2019?
The last time?
Yeah.
2018.
In November of 2018, me, Kyle, my buddy Cole that I was mentioning, Jason, who I mentioned, the redheaded guy, and another friend of ours, Ben, who I met playing college soccer, San Diego State, went down for the Baja 1000. Our buddy Kurt here was one of the co-drivers. We went down, had a blast, man. 3-4 day weekend, drove all over fucking Baja, California. Eat a bunch of tacos, had a bunch of beer, bullshitted a bunch, watched the races. It was great. And we were tired. I mean, it was a long weekend, but it was fun.
And all we were doing was fucking around.
Yeah, we screwed.
We did some off-roading in Ennis this last winter.
We did.
Yeah, remember that?
Oh yeah.
We gotta do some more of that.
How does that compare to Baja?
Way different.
That was fun though.
The terrain's different, but the camaraderie, the vibe's very similar.
There's a few sketchy spots.
Yeah, but we should do more of that.
Yeah. Don't you remember that when we were going down?
Yeah, I think it was sketchy because of the ice. But yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of like, it. At the end of the day, it all kind of washes out in the end of like, there's some terrain that you may be going fast on, or you might be going 2 miles an hour on, but like, there's an adrenaline rush that's really to.
Should have brought the C10.
C10 wouldn't have made it.
No.
You brought it to Lava Lake.
No, I never took the C10 to Lava Lake.
That's not a good.
I-
Where's Lava Lake?
I never took the Lava Lake, but had I been
You need to go there.
like had I been in college, I would have taken it.
Where's Lava Lake?
Yeah, you've been. You've been
Fairy
there.
Lake?
You've been there.
No, yeah, it is
Fairy
Fairy
Lake,
Lake.
Fairy
Yeah,
Lake.
yeah, my bad.
That's what
Lava Lake's.
Oh, you should not take that trip.
No, I wouldn't.
Not good for it.
I wouldn't now, but I would have.
That road is not a bad road. It's just rougher than you should take a vehicle like that. What do you guys call it? Lava Lake?
No, it's not. Lava Lake's.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought maybe there was a lake on the way I didn't know about that.
Have you been to Lava Lake though?
I've never been to Lava
That-
Lake.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I've been to Lava Lake.
Yeah,
I have been with you.
Yeah.
Couple of
And
years ago. I think before Carson.
Mm-hmm.
I packed them up.
Yeah.
I did it with my nephew.
He-
I did it with my nephew.
He loves doing that stuff. You gotta get Jack into it.
Okay, Baja 500. I got a fist. So
Again?
shaming that. Cole asked what we gotta do. We have to take a fist.
I'm usually the one that always has to be.
Well, you don't have to tonight.
Hey, when you come back, if you don't mind getting some ice.
Yeah, I got you.
What are you drinking?
Some bourbon.
Where is it?
Oh, what are you drinking?
The bourbon, the just Buffalo Trace right there.
Haley got me something for my birthday. Haley, they got me Hazel.
Hazel.
Yeah, how did you know that?
Is that Hazel? Basil?
Yeah, he had that stuff before.
Yeah.
It's good. I've had it once before. I liked it.
It is good. Do we fill in any of the blanks here? From what we're talking about so far? How long have we been doing this? An hour now? About an hour. We started around 9, right?
I guess. Yeah, we're an hour and yeah, I mean, you don't need to feel pressure to fill in any story and just, wherever you want to go with it. Doesn't matter. You can skip 10 years if you want. I mean,
We've just been conversing now. You guys haven't asked me a question in a while.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way they go. Or at least that's the way they've been going.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of things that Tim will probably just keep asking questions because there's a lot of things he doesn't know.
There's a lot of things you know.
I'm sure yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the last 18 years.
Been that long.
Well, think about it when you graduated from San Diego State to when you moved here.
I moved in August of 2000.
And so there's 19. I'm sorry. There's
It's
what
crazy how these mics fit.
they won't in. So what was it? 2009 to 2019, right?
No, 2022, November of 22.
Yeah. So the 10, 11, 12 years. 12, 13.
13.
Yeah, 13 years.
13.
But I was in college at that time, so it's really actually longer than that time, right? So like there's like 2 or 3 years before that. So it's like 15 years of like, I don't know what you were actually really doing. Yeah. If we get there, we get there great. Like we don't have to tonight. But like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I actually have no idea what your life was like in Atlanta or Germany or Milwaukee.
Thanks, buddy.
And then,
Yeah, you do. You have an idea.
yeah, well, general idea. And then I don't really know what you like. And when I say like, and I'm talking about in detail, I don't really know what you did for Milwaukee the first 10 years.
Yeah. Well,
If you think about it,
whatever you guys want.
anyway, we don't have to get there, but it's one of the things that like in hindsight I'd like to like understand. We don't have to do it today. If we do it, great.
Well, I want to know how far this jumps from where we were with Baja 500 in college. Kyle said he played professional soccer.
No, I didn't play professional soccer.
What'd you play?
I didn't play professional. I never played professional soccer. What are you talking about?
So when you were in Germany, what happened?
I played in what they call the Kreisliga.
Okay.
The Kreisliga is county league.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, just like you were explaining about the leagues we played in, the Kreisliga team could progress to the Bundesliga, which is the first division in German soccer.
So like a bunch of people who play recreationally could start playing professionally. That's how the league's set up. Like if they're good enough.
Yeah, but
So what team do you play for? What was it called?
Sportfreunde Stuttgart.
Sport Friende.
Sport Club Stuttgart.
Okay.
Um, and that was thanks for bringing that up. It was a really cool experience.
But you guys had a field, you had a coach, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So he's saying
I'll explain it.
he's saying it was like recreational.
So let me go back. Let me go back. I'm glad you guys are bringing this up. See, these are things I don't think about. It's great. So there's a guy named Benedict Strunk. Benny is German, clearly. Benny played on the same soccer team in San Diego that I did. And when I lived in Barcelona in 2008, Benny came home from San Diego. Home was Berlin, Germany. And so I decided to spend my spring break with Benny in Berlin. And he took me all around Berlin. You guys know there's a lot of history in Berlin with the World War and Hitler. And that was a really good experience. But learning about the German side of the story and walking around with the German was so cool. Benny's a great person. Unfortunately, I don't keep in contact with him, although I know that if I called him and needed something or wanted to meet up for a beer, he would gladly do it. He's one of those types of people. And I would reciprocate. But anyway, I spent a week at Benny's house with his parents, which was super cool in Berlin. Then 5 years later, I called Benny up and said, Benny, I'm moving to Germany. Do you know anybody in Stuttgart? And he said, as a matter of fact, I do. I lived in Stuttgart and I played on this team called Sportfreunde Stuttgart. And I'm botching the pronunciation, but whatever. You should go play for him. Cool. Sounds good. Got me into contact with the coach, went and played a couple practices. The coach said, you should join our team. Joined the team, and the team's just like Southern California, a melting pot. Obviously German guys, Turkish guys, a Spanish guy, people from all over the world. Most people are younger than me at this point. I was 27 or 28. Most of the guys were in their early 20s. We played in the county league. The county league played a bunch of other teams within the county, and there's probably like 15 or 20 teams in the league. And it was a real deal. It was actually more competitive than the college soccer I played. These guys were serious. German people are very serious. They don't do anything. And I mean that in a good way. It was a great experience. We practiced a few days a week. We had our own locker room. We had our own building. We had beers in the locker room after games. It was really, really, really cool.
All right, so let's break this down for a second. So you had a full-time job at the time.
Yeah.
This was when you first started. Second time you started working for TTI.
I only worked for TTI once. So all of my time is working for TTI, just under a different umbrella.
Okay, I don't want to get hung up on that.
Yeah.
You had a full-time job.
Yeah.
In Germany.
In Stuttgart,
in Germany, selling power tools.
Yeah, not in sales, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So somebody was selling power tools. You were helping somebody else sell power tools.
Yeah.
So okay, you're working 40 or 50 hours a week, and then you're going to soccer practice twice a week. Okay, you have a coach. Okay, so you show up on time.
Jürgen.
Jürgen. So you get your shit together.
Great guy.
And you're one of the older guys, right? So these guys are 20, 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, it didn't seem like I was old. But
did they have full-time jobs?
Some of them were, some of them were working at, the service industry, bars, restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them had full-time jobs. Some of them didn't.
Okay. So you had games on Saturdays and Sundays, and you guys would travel sometimes.
Yeah, but you have to drive yourself.
How far?
We didn't have private jets.
I know that. How far were the games?
Within shorter than that, within 40 miles. Probably.
Okay.
30 minutes is probably the longest.
Do you have a car then?
Yeah, I have a car.
Oh,
a BMW 1 Series.
I thought you were taking a train.
I rode the train a lot. It's pretty convenient.
Okay. So, all right. So that's interesting. So, it's interesting to have a full-time job, and then play soccer like that.
Yeah, but let's not overblow it. I was playing recreational soccer.
Okay.
Yeah, I was playing recreational soccer. It was more serious than what I was doing in college. But that was a really great experience. Like I said, soccer defined my life, even up to 27.
But didn't the team won that league?
They did.
So they won a league and then they went up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happened when they went up?
They went up again after. So I was only there for a year.
Uh-huh.
We won the league when I was there. No, I didn't win the league because I was there, but we won the league when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they won the league again. So they actually, in the course of 2 years, moved up 2 leagues.
So what does that mean? Were they in like the third division or fourth?
No, probably 6 or 7.
Oh, okay.
They were still pretty low. I mean, there's a lot of divisions. Mm-hmm. They were in probably 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, it was pretty competitive.
Cool.
And that was fun. That was really fun. It's a good way to meet people too. You
got any good German girl stories, women stories?
Yeah, I don't think we should tell them. I don't think we should tell those on here. I had a lot of fun in Germany. The most fun I had was the first night I was there. So I went there in September of 2012, and you guys have heard of Oktoberfest.
Mm-hmm.
Oktoberfest is not just in Munich.
It's also in September.
And it's in September. But the night I landed, or the day I landed, one of the guys I worked with picked me up.
You got blacked out.
We're going to Oktoberfest. All right, brother, let's go.
Why do they call it Oktoberfest when it's in September? There's got to be a good reason.
There probably is. I'm not going to make it up.
Okay, all right.
We started the night slow.
You're in like one of those big ass tents with all
Big tents.
eating sausages, drinking big ass
Great food, great beer, great music. People partying their asses off, standing on the tables, screaming and yelling and dancing. I don't know what happened.
All right.
The night ended. Everybody split up, and I don't know what happened. But this is the first night I was there. I was jet lagged. I took a red-eye flight. I got absolutely hammered.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow ended up by myself outside of the facility, outside of the call them fairgrounds, and felt like I was roaming around for hours trying to find a taxi. And these are the days before Uber, didn't speak German. I was the first night in a foreign country. It was a disaster. I mean, I'm still trying to think of those memories right now. I don't even know how I got home. I don't know how I got to the hotel. I know it's not a great story. Just kind of stream of conscious.
Yeah, it makes sense. That makes sense.
Then what? What happened with the time you were there?
In Germany.
Yeah.
My job was not all that interesting.
What were you doing there? You were in sales?
No, I was in product management. And for Milwaukee Tool, most of the product development happens in North America, happens in Wisconsin. So what I was really doing was trying to figure out how to position the product that the team in the U.S. had developed for the different various markets. There's 10 plus markets in Europe, Norway, Sweden, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, blah, 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 blah. Trying to figure out how to position those products for those markets. So like the day-to-day job was not all that interesting, but like Kyle mentioned with soccer, what was very intriguing to me was managing how to learn this new culture, managing how to interact with people. Even in the U.S., you have various cultures. Like upstate New York is very different than L.A., right? Mm-hmm. Which is very different than Florida, which is very different than Montana. But when you get to Europe, it's even more different. The German culture is unique, but Germany is a melting pot of cultures.
But also, like, business is done way differently.
Yeah.
From country to country to country, laws are different, taxes are different. So, like, you almost have to customize. You have to customize everything for each, like, country.
Yeah. So, although my day-to-day was not, like, my day-to-day nuts and bolts of my job was not all that interesting, the cultural side was so cool and intriguing, and I learned so much about people and how to interact with people and influence people of different cultures and different backgrounds in a good way. And I traveled a lot. I was in Norway a few times, which is a beautiful country. I was in Denmark. I was in the UK. I was fortunate enough to go to Portugal. Traveled a whole bunch. I traveled as much as I could. and just try to interact with as many people as I could. One of the things I've learned through my experience in Barcelona, through my experience working in Germany, was one of the most important things, and one of the things I fear about my kids, and I'm pointing my kids upstairs, is you got to be exposed to a lot of different things. And I think you've talked about this based on your background. People that experience diversity in a wide range of culture tend to live a more fruitful life and a more impactful life. And I can attest to that from the fortunate experiences I had living in Europe.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I can attest to the opposite side of it. Like, I grew up in such a small town, and it was literally the opposite of what you guys were describing.
Yeah.
Melting pot. It was just the same type of people, the same thing. And I left from the other side of the country, and I'm like, whoa. But it really changes you in a very profound way.
Oh yeah, it does. And some of it you notice right away. Most of it, for me, you notice years later.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated being in Germany at the time because of my day to day. But then I looked back 2 or 3 years later, and man, that was one of the best, probably the most impactful experiences of my life.
That was my exact experience. It was very frustrating because it's just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Nothing's familiar.
Yeah.
Who are these people? What is this place? This is all.
When you're in Seattle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Seattle's like, there's a lot going on in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
A hell of a lot different than a small farm town in the middle of nowhere, farm country.
Yeah. Yeah, it was super challenging to be there. But challenge equals growth. But I lived in a cool little apartment, small apartment on a hill overlooking the city. Walk to the grocery store, which is cool. But even just go to the grocery store, like, as a 27, 28-year-old kid, you want the things that are familiar to you, and you can't get them at the grocery store. And you're like walking around, none of the labels are in English. You're like, what the fuck is this? And then you try and talk to somebody. Most of the people in Germany speak English, but they're reluctant because they're such perfectionists. Like, I don't know if you guys know much about the German culture. God bless them, like they want to speak English perfectly. They want to do everything perfectly. And if they can't speak English perfectly, they don't want to speak English. They don't even want to act like they can because they're embarrassed if they don't speak perfectly. Mm-hmm. So, you talk to the clerk or you talk to somebody that works here, and you're like, hey, where's the yogurt? Where's the granola? Huh? Sorry, I don't know what you're saying. And it's just frustrating, so just
because they'll ignore you because they
not ignore, but they're saying, I don't know what you're talking about, because they're ashamed that they don't understand what you're saying. Yeah. So great experience looking back, but frustrating in the moment.
Yeah, I remember when I moved to Seattle, there were so many times I was out there and I was like, if I was any closer to home, I probably would have went back because I was so frustrated. I remember one day sitting on my pickup truck, like drinking a beer, like looking out with it, like, I don't know, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like the homeless people walking down the street. Sitting there with a flatbed pickup truck that has agriculture plates on it from New York.
Yeah.
So you drove your truck out there?
Yeah. From New York.
This F-350 you're talking
about? No, this is a Chevy 500. A little bit because of the salt. Yeah. So you lost me a lot though because we went straight to your professional doctor career. When I didn't realize you were working for Milwaukee then. So
since I graduated college, the only company I've ever worked for is Milwaukee.
Okay.
I've worked for the parent company, but I put it all together because ultimately it's same career.
Yeah, I didn't even realize you.
So I've worked for Milwaukee since 2009, so that's 15 years.
Wow.
I had a 15-year anniversary in January. Yeah.
That you were with Milwaukee this whole trip, everything.
Graduated from college in late 2008. Started in 2009 with Milwaukee, calling on Home Depot stores, merchandising, selling tools out of Home Depot stores, living at my parents' house. in January of 2009. In August of 2009, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
What was that? What was that like? That experience? I mean,
Atlanta?
I mean, because you guys are in Southern California, but you don't technically call that the South. What do you call it?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
South
curious what that experience was like for you.
Different
Yeah.
for sure. You ever been to Atlanta? You ever been to Georgia?
I haven't, but my mother lives in Knoxville, so I was
okay.
just recently in Tennessee, and
It's pretty similar.
yeah,
it's pretty similar. I've been through Knoxville. Atlanta's an interesting place. The weather's interesting. It's humid in the summer. Atlanta is segregated, really segregated. And I didn't experience that. Not that LA is not segregated, but this is a whole nother level. Everything south of town, black. Everything north of town's white. And it was interesting. And I don't want to go into the dynamics of that, but like if you think about like the South, like that's the South. And there's some history there that I pretend to understand. That's still present today. And I don't mean to communicate that I experienced a bunch of racism, but it's a freaking segregated place. And there's a clear difference between the north side of town and the south side of town in terms of quality of life. And it's crazy.
That's been my experience. To what you said, I don't know it, and I didn't experience it, but I can feel it.
Yeah.
This is.
It's a good way to put it.
It's just different.
It's a good way to
feel it, and I'm like, all right, this is real. Like you can feel it. I'm like, all right, this is just.
But I'll speak to my experience. I moved in August of 2009, probably the hottest time of the year, August in the South, super humid, super hot. At this point, I thought I was making a lot of money. I went from right out of school to an individual rep to managing 10 reps, and I was making decent money, but I didn't want to live in an apartment anymore, so I rented a house. And if you remember, I brought my boat out there. You're kind of young and dumb, and I wanted like everything that came with owning, not owning, but renting a house and like having a 3-bedroom house. I didn't have any business owning or having a 3-bedroom house.
You didn't have any fucking furniture.
I didn't have any money. I really didn't have any money. I didn't have any furniture. My house was empty.
You couldn't even fill up a kitchen and a fucking bedroom.
My house was empty. I don't know what I was thinking, but you're young and dumb.
Yeah, I get it.
But I brought my boat out there, which is really not a boat. You should probably show a picture of the boat. It's a jet ski, basically an 18-foot jet ski with a 450 horsepower motor on it. And I took it to the lake.
It's a fucking sick jet ski, dude.
Drank way too many beers and drove that. I actually GPSed it. I took it 78 miles an hour with my buddy Tim Shoey. Shout out to Tim. But hey, most of my time in Atlanta, I worked my ass off. We have a pretty demanding culture, a pretty demanding company. And in these days, Milwaukee was a nothing brand.
Yeah, but also right after the crisis.
Yeah.
What crisis?
Financial crisis.
Oh,
this 2009.
Okay.
This 2009, man. Like the economy was not good, at all. Especially in residential construction. Think about the housing market then. And so you graduated in 2008, 2009. Economy's not good. You take the job you get, and people that had jobs worked their asses off. So we worked our asses off. But we have a culture that's high demand. I worked hard, worked a lot. Atlanta is Home Depot's headquarters, which is good because I got a lot of visibility, got a lot of FaceTime with execs. Because we got a lot of people that came to Atlanta to, for meetings and things like that. But I worked a lot, and weekends as well, a lot of weekends, Monday through Saturday, let's say. So that year was a blur, was not a healthy year. I was eating shitty, I was drinking a lot, and was working a lot.
Milwaukee, I mean, it's funny because I even then, like, I'm thinking of these years you're pointing out, like, I always thought they were the coolest tool company.
You sure?
It's just like there's something about the color, but like, I just like color red. Like, it just always caught my eye.
Hey, in those years, man, we were.
But I mean,
we were well known for a couple tools: sawzalls, whole hogs, bandsaws, corded tools.
But DeWalt was probably like. Yeah, they were cream of the crop then.
Yeah, DeWalt was by far the market.
Their like you guys are the leader now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
But Makita was good in Southern California.
But Makita was very strong across the nation, mostly strong on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But Makita was strong. Yeah. They've been very strong in SoCal, for sure.
Yeah.
You're right, Kyle. It was much more regional then, whereas now it's not as regional.
Everybody's spread out now.
Yeah. So
Milwaukee didn't have a NASCAR.
No, it never happened.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, I think about that though. There's a reason why that was and is, but like DeWalt had enough money to sponsor a NASCAR on every single race. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And this isn't a podcast about Milwaukee Tool, but philosophically, we don't believe that drives demand.
Yeah. What shouldn't? People should buy your tools.
The
if they want
traditional marketing perspective is that if people see a brand, they'll buy the brand. Meaning, like if I'm a NASCAR fan and I see a NASCAR with a DeWalt brand and I see that enough times, I'm going to be familiar with what I'm going to buy. Or, I'm a baseball fan. I think you're a baseball fan. See the DeWalt logo in the outfield behind the pitcher. You see that enough times by DeWalt. It's not our viewpoint. Our viewpoint is that great products, along with relationships, causes people. Sorry, that isn't what the podcast is about.
No, this I want to hear this.
Great products, along with relationships, causes people to buy products. So rather than spending our money on $1 million on a NASCAR a year, we'd rather put 10 people, we call them feet on the street, or 10 new products in the market to go drive that demand. It's just a philosophical difference on how to drive demand.
Yeah, but I also, we don't need to get into that, but I also think your customers are very different.
What do you mean? Different? DeWalt and Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Why do you say that?
I think
they're the same customer.
I think they're different, in my opinion.
You got to.
But what do I know about tools? Nothing. So I don't.
Both of you guys work in construction.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about actual tools. Okay. But I'll say this: there's a person. Okay, I'll just give you. This is straight up, off the cuff, an emotional reaction. The people who
careful, you might be talking about Tim.
That's fine. The people who own and use Milwaukee tools are different people than people who own and use DeWalt tools. And when I say that, I mean their character.
Okay.
You just got political.
I did.
No, you don't mean that politically.
No, what I mean is that I'll say this. The person who's using Milwaukee tools, in my opinion, will get the job done at a higher quality on time. And so I would say the people who are doing using DeWalt, it may not be that high quality, and I don't think it'll be on time. And that's
you know what's really interesting about that.
Honestly, I don't know anything else about tools except for that the people who use them.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting about that?
You just offended 7 of the 15 listeners.
That's okay.
What's interesting about that statement is
it'd be interesting if you ran actually numbers on that.
That's your opinion, right? Clearly.
Yeah, I mean that's my opinion off of.
But if you think about why that's your opinion, we don't need to go into it. It's probably a bunch of immeasurable things.
100%. It's not.
It's emotion.
I've never measured
it. It's emotion. It's a feeling.
It's like when I said I went to the South. You can feel it.
Well,
that's the power of a brand.
Well,
right? That's the power of a brand, and like what you think and feel about a brand. And the cool thing about Emily is that Emily helped build that brand into whatever your feeling is of the brand. And I don't know if you share that feeling. I don't care if you share that feeling. It doesn't matter. I don't know if you're right, whatever. The cool thing is Emily was a big part of that feeling that you're feeling. And I think that's what we aspired to many, many, many years ago. Was an aspirational brand that's up here relative to its competitive set.
Yeah.
Well, I think I told you that bit driver that I have, that impact driver, the girl I dated in high school got that for me for birthday presents.
Oh wow.
So I mean, thing still works.
Yeah.
And like, to me, it's just like, this is such a well-made, quality,
Yeah.
long lasting. And to what he's saying, like, yeah, someone who has this stuff is like going to do stuff the right way, do it efficiently, and they're spending the extra money on the tool, or they can spend the extra money. Like,
Yeah, I'll say it. Like, I just think that there's the people who are using the tools and are highly professional, and so I think there's a difference there. Sure, there's plenty of people that are like homeowners that buy Milwaukee tools as well, right? But my whole experience has been in the commercial construction industry, and so I can literally name names of people that I'm like, these people are extremely reliable, and they have Milwaukee tools. So that's why I associate them. Like I said, I literally associate the two together.
I just think of like broken plastic when I think of DeWalt.
Why
Anyway,
do you have so much DeWalt shit?
I don't know. The only DeWalt thing I have is a drill. Very old drill.
anyway, we kind of went off topic. That's not off topic.
Yeah, where were we?
We're talking with you in Germany and working for DeWalt.
I didn't work for DeWalt.
Milwaukee.
How dare you? I wouldn't work for it.
As you said, yellow Ford, and I just thought I said yellow tool.
Yeah.
I don't know whether, but yeah, I did work for Milwaukee in Germany. It was a great experience.
Did it do 15 years?
What?
15 years?
Can you believe it? Old man. 38.
Legacy. When did you meet Emily along with Cole?
And that's an interesting story too. I met Emily in 2012, about 2 weeks before I was leaving for Germany.
Right.
We were a very small company then. The marketing department was probably 40 people. Marketing department is now 300 plus. I was getting ready to go to Germany, and her boss, Eric Losby, still works for Milwaukee. He's a good friend of both of ours. Was walking Emily around to introduce her to the rest of the team. You know, was introducing the new employee. And I was at the printer. Yes, I still print shit out. I was printing shit out at the printer, and Eric was walking her around the office, and
That makes a lot of sense. People print shit out back then.
I still do.
Do you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I have to. Eric was
No.
yeah. If my team's watching this, they will attest.
You get a highlighter and a pen and fucking mark it up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sure do.
Yeah.
Eric was walking Emily around and introduced her to the team, and I was at the printer, and here comes Eric and Emily around the corner.
This is actually cool that you remember the day you met her.
Of course I do.
So
My wife, dude.
Yeah,
no one fucking think he remembers.
You've heard of the story, I think.
No.
Oh, they walk around the corner and kind of stops me in my tracks, and Eric goes, "Hey, Cole, what's up, man? Hey, what's up, Eric? Hey, Cole, this is Emily, the new brand marketing coordinator. Hey, Emily, I'm Cole."
Check that thing out, dude.
She's like, yo.
Yeah. No, she was and I was. Emily, or Eric, Eric, hey, new brand marketing coordinator, Cole. Cole's going to Germany here in the next couple of weeks. So, good to meet you.
Which was quite controversial, actually.
It was super controversial.
Yeah.
But 10 minutes go by, and I like that girl. And I go,
Hey man, can I stay in Milwaukee?
yeah, I walk over to Eric's office. Eric, what's up with him? Don't worry about it, Cole. You're going to Germany. Yeah, but what's up with Emily? She just moved here from Portland, Oregon. She's from Wisconsin.
And this was back before the Me Too movement and shit.
Yeah. But thanks for that. But hey Cole, she's got a boyfriend. He's gonna move here too. Okay, got it. Well, you're going to Germany. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to Germany. So I went to Germany 2 weeks later, and while I was over there a couple times, I had thought about her, but I didn't know her well. But I knew there was like something there. And then my buddy Brett, who Kyle knows well, Came to
Shout out to Tatar.
Tatar. He actually called me.
That's Brett backwards.
Brett came over in July of 2013, and we were in San Sebastian, Spain, which is on the northern coast of Spain on the Atlantic, near France. And I remember him and I talking. We were having wine one night after dinner in the summer. It was beautiful. And I don't know, I said something about Emily. Well, he was dating one of Emily's good friends. Who's still Emily's good friend. But I said something about him, like, hey, you know, there's something about this girl. And he's like, yeah, whatever. You met her for 2 seconds, you know. Anyway, at that point, I knew I was coming back to Milwaukee. And so I came back to Milwaukee in like October of 2013. Ended up having to work directly with her in a couple projects. Which was, you know, great because I was all in, man. I was trying to figure out how to, you know, weasel my way in, if you know what I'm saying, kind of wiggle in there. And an opportunity arose for us to travel to Indianapolis. And
Looks like created an opportunity.
No. That's not
thin air.
That's so not true.
That's not what Emily said.
When I finish this, I'm gonna grab my phone. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. An opportunity arose for me to travel to Indianapolis. We had this thing basically we put together as a group nationally where we went to try and convert DeWalt users to Milwaukee. And one of the opportunities was in Indianapolis to convert DeWalt people to Milwaukee battery powered tools. Ironically, there was a Denver Broncos game in Indianapolis at their pretty new stadium, Lucas Oil Stadium. And I'm a Broncos fan. I was much bigger Broncos fan. And I said, Emily, let's do it. Let's go to Indy. It's about a 6-hour drive from Milwaukee. And let's go do this blitz together. She's like, okay. So we go.
Was that a company event or is that something you pulled out of your ass?
No, company event.
Okay.
But I had to make it work.
Yeah.
I had to make it work for us to be on the same trip together and
go
see the Broncos.
Right.
We had to go down early for the Broncos game.
Mm-hmm.
She agreed to it. So clearly there was something there from both sides, right?
Sure.
So, you know, there's a whole lot of details that don't matter.
We'll leave out in the podcast, is what he said.
But we went down on a Sunday morning, maybe a Saturday night, catch the game. Went to the game together. I've got a picture that I'm going to pull up here on my phone, show the audience, the big audience we have. And we went to the Broncos game. Nothing great happened that night. Nothing great happened that week, but it was a jumping off point. It was a year after I first met her at that printer. But that's how we met. We met at that printer, and then a year later we started working on some projects, and then I took her to Indy. We went down in my car, and from there, it was a few more months, maybe 6 or 9 months, and hit it up. So that's the story, and there's a whole lot more detail, but I don't know. I want to share that publicly.
Cool, man.
Yeah, it is really cool. Yeah.
Cool that you knew that from the top of your story.
I knew there was something there, and even when I was in Germany, I met her one time. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about it, and I told Brett, one of my best friends, there's something there, and I believe that. Yeah. I mean, I remember sitting on the stairs at this badass basilica.
What the fuck is a basilica?
This Spanish church, and talking to Brett about it.
Oh,
with a glass of red wine.
Oh, bass.
Yeah,
church.
You said you're a culture.
Okay. No, I didn't.
No, you gotta sit there by yourself and keep the podcast going.
I'll keep it going.
No problem.
I'm gonna tell all the details.
You go there?
Yeah, you went outside.
I'm ready to go to the bed. Yeah, he's coming. You can just leave in the middle of a podcast. What are you doing?
Taking a bit. Where are you putting the covers on everything?
Just a picture from Michigan, Michael. There's crazy cool lights in Michigan. Let me show you guys a picture here. Michael was in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Emily's brother just sent these cool ass pictures.
Oh yeah. You can't see me outside.
Not right now. Look at that. How cool is that? That's in Michigan, dude. That's cool.
All right, where were we?
Where I met Emily and how I met him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, speed us up to the details you want to tell us.
About what?
Emily.
How
long have you guys been married now?
We got married in 2018, 2017, 2017, I think. Okay, I don't know. 2017.
Okay, your wedding. What was it like?
We got married in Colorado.
Got married in
2017, not 2016.
Sure.
Yeah, we got married in Colorado. Emily's dad lives in Colorado, and so we spent a lot of time in like 2014, 2015, 2016 in Colorado. Decided we want to get married out there, so we got married in Keystone, Colorado, at a really cool lodge. It's probably about 100, 120 years old. Small wedding, 80 people.
That's a good number.
Yeah, great little setting. Like I said, beautiful old lodge. Got a little pond in the background. Beautiful mountains. It was good. A great wedding. And we lived in a great little house in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. House built in 1924. Kyle's been there obviously a bunch of times. Cool little house. We did a bunch of remodeled the kitchen, remodeled the bathroom. It was kind of like our little place that we did together.
So you guys owned that place before you moved here?
Yeah, I bought it before. I knew Emily, but I bought it without Emily before we were together. But we kind of made that house our own, so that was kind of like the place we had as our own.
Did you guys sell that, or you still own that?
No, we sold. We sold it in 2022.
Anything significant from the wedding you remember?
Yeah, I mean a few things. It was a cool atmosphere. A lot of dancing. I think most people had a great time. It was a lot of fun. It was good. Good wedding. Yeah.
Okay, now back way up. What was it like growing up with Mark and Gayla and his parents? Just because I've met them both, so I know them. I'm just curious what it was like. They both seemed awesome. I honestly am very fond of both of them. So I'm just curious what it was like growing up with them.
Wow, you're changing the subject quick.
Well, I was just thinking this. I was like, because we're getting almost to current time, but I was thinking of that for a while. But I mean, they're at your wedding, yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're super fortunate. My parents are great. If you think about all the possibilities out there, we're super, super fortunate to had parents that are together. I've been together almost 50 years, 46 years. Both super driven people. Both came from good families, good backgrounds. More blue collar than anything. Which to me means hardworking. Like worked for what they had, and good character too. People that have got good morals, good values. So we're super lucky. They were not too strict, but like wanted things done a certain way, the right way.
You guys, I don't know if either of you guys remember this, but you were both there when we did the podcast with your mom.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
Well, I'm going to say a specific moment. And if you remember, she's like, yeah, I went out with Mark and we had a really fun time. And then,
what are you trying to get at, Tim?
No, she's like, and then I've never heard from him again.
Yeah, I remember.
She's like, and then like 6 months later, he'd be like, hey, you want to go out again? She's like, yeah, and we go out again. And then I never hear from him. I thought it was so funny the way she told that story.
Yeah. Yeah, she's told us that before. Yeah. So I do remember that.
This is the third time. She's like, hey, what the hell?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to beat around the bush or answer your question from a too surface level perspective, but hardworking people, great character. My dad was a truck driver, as you kind of alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did your dad drive the truck in the neighborhood? Yeah, he did.
Which you said we'd get to.
My dad drove his big rig, the 18-wheeler, not the trailer, but the tractor part, the trailer or the truck part, into our neighborhood and parked it there every freaking night.
In our driveway.
Then in our driveway, and every morning he fired it up. And as you know, with the diesel, it needs to be warmed up. You need to get, especially for the brakes run on hydraulic brakes, and they run on a compressor, and you got to get the pressure up. So it sat in the driveway for at least 10 minutes, warmed up, and nobody complained. But yeah, like I said, it was a blue collar neighborhood. My dad woke up early. He was up at 5 a.m. most days, 6 a.m, and was out the door. And before any of us got up, my mom, we'll say, was like an office assistant. Mm-hmm. But when we were young, she didn't work. like really young, didn't work. Like 1, 2, 3 years old, didn't work. And that was great. We had her. But as time went on, my dad, kept his job and worked hard and was up early. He was home most of the time by 2 or 3 o'clock because he was up so early, which was great. When we were home from school, he was home. And then my mom planned her schedule so that she could drop us off from school and pick us up from school. So she worked like what, 8, maybe 9 to 3, 9 to 2 every day. So it was great. We saw our parents all the time, but they both worked a lot too. So it worked out nice. We can use that as a jumping off point.
Yeah.
If you have further questions.
No, it's just fun. Because I'm just painting the pictures and put your mom's story together, your story. I don't know. Put it all together.
Yeah. The vacations we took, I thought were great. We didn't travel all around the world. Our vacations were mostly camping vacations, places we could drive within a few hours, 5, 6 hours. Lake Havasu, Arizona, Eastern Sierras, Bishop, Bridgeport, which is in the Eastern Sierras, almost in the Nevada border. And those are some of my best memories. You feel the same way, but some of my best memories are camping with our family on Lake Havasu or camping with our family in the Eastern Sierras. So cool. But they were always a roll of the dice. My dad, when he had work, took advantage of the work. Not that we had it too hard, but like we didn't have a lot of extra cash laying around. So if my dad had work, he was going to work. So like we would have instances where we would pack the whole car with all our clothes and all our gear. And we'd think we were going. But then my dad that day got offered a job that paid good.
Like the next day.
The next day. And so he would
cancel it.
He'd cancel the vacation to make some money. So that, hopefully that like provides a little perspective on our upbringing.
Yeah.
I never felt like we didn't have the things we needed, food on the table and toys and shit. But we didn't have a lot of extra.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But you've got 3 kids, so if he's got work that comes in.
Well, it's kind of like if I told you could make $1,000 tomorrow, right? You'd make $1,000. But if I said you're not going to work until next Wednesday, wouldn't you go on vacation? You're not going to make any money anyway. So you're like, fuck it. I might as well go.
Especially if you're camping, yeah.
Right. And so you're like, well, we might as well go. But if somebody was like, no, you can make $1,000 tomorrow, like, guess I'm not going camping. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened. It would be like, we're planning on going camping. It's let's say we go for 3 or 4 days, but then out of nowhere, somebody's like,
no,
here you go.
That makes
and so he's
sense,
like, well, we're not going camping. That didn't happen all the time. Happened a few times. Whatever. No big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. But those are some of my best memories. Just camping.
We had a lot of fun. We had a ton of fun. It was like freedom on steroids, right? It's like camping is like freedom on steroids for kids in my mind. It's like you're literally out in the wilderness. Most of the rules go away. Yeah. So it was fun. Yeah, we have a lot of fun stories.
Catching fish.
Camping. Do you remember all 3 of us getting stung by a swarm of bees?
Oh yeah.
In Bishop.
Oh
yeah.
Mostly you.
We got fucked up.
None of you are allergic.
I am allergic.
Yeah. You carry EpiPen?
I do.
You guys know.
Yeah. I didn't then, yeah. Kyle took me to the hospital in January this year, on January 5th, Emily's birthday. Kyle took me to the hospital. I spent about 2, 3 hours. Which one? The one here in town?
Who wasn't from Beast?
Seafood.
Yeah.
Shellfish. Yeah, so, my parents are great.
Yeah.
And hey, being a parent's hard. Really hard. To your point, I don't know how the hell your mom did it. I don't know. It's freaking hard. Especially by yourself. I can't imagine.
Yeah. No, I just, like the reason I asked, I got that vibe from both your parents. They just seem like great people. It's very cool. I like, we had a lot of fun when I went with Kyle at Coeur d'Alene to help Mark out with.
Did you have any beers when you were there, or were you not drinking?
No, I wasn't drinking. But like Mark had beers and we hung out. We had fun.
Yeah.
Did Kyle have beers?
Yeah.
Good.
That's super best.
Yeah. Now you're drinking beers.
Yeah.
or White Claws, whatever those are.
That's a Topo Chico right there.
Topo Chico and lime. What else you guys got?
Got anything else you want to add?
We're not done. We got another hour.
Do we? I gotta go home.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are done.
No, I can go forever.
We get paid to do
I'm good. I'm on a roll. What time is it? 11?
It's 11:10.
I mean, whatever you guys want. It's your guys' show.
our show is the guest. You're
No,
the
we
guest,
can keep going.
so it's your show.
I don't know how interesting it's been so far.
I'm interested.
Let's keep going then. Let's try and wait for the Northern Lights. The Northern Lights are supposed to be here at midnight.
All right, so now you got married.
I'm married, yeah. Married.
All right,
That was like not that long ago.
7 years.
7 years.
7 years this August. August 5th.
What's that about?
All the bitches love me. All the bitches love me. All the bitches love me. All the bitches.
Yeah, that's how I was gonna do it. He's right. I'm ready to race on you, Dave. He's ready to roll. Maybe four.
You sound like Kyle. Podcast.
What's it like being married? It's great. You start to figure out the things you're good at versus the things that she's good at, and you complement each other well. Doesn't always, doesn't always jive, but most of the time it does. Super functional. You guys know him. He deals with me. That's hard. She deals with them boys.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Cal?
I mean, I can go all kinds of directions.
Come on, take it.
I can go all kinds of directions. You moved to Atlanta.
I did.
When you, so we're going back, right? We're going back. We're seesawing on this fucking podcast.
That's all right.
So when you moved to Atlanta, I imagine, so you went from Atlanta to Milwaukee to Germany, back to Milwaukee. That was kind of
Yeah.
right. So I would imagine, like, you were obviously working a lot at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like all of that. Well, it doesn't matter, right? Like you were career focused.
Oh yeah.
Because here's the thing, you don't move places unless you're career focused, in my opinion. People don't move
Yeah.
to another city unless like there's an opportunity in their career, or they really want to move to that city.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and with the exception of Stuttgart, I don't think you're really interested in those cities. Yeah.
Mhm.
He didn't want to move to Atlanta. He didn't want to move to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So, especially as a young man, like, yeah, if I were to get out of college right now, there's a couple of cities that I would move to. I would think I would move to as a 22-year-old, right? Or even a 25-year-old or a 27-year-old. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is when you were at that age, Atlanta wasn't that attractive, in my opinion. Neither was Milwaukee.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And so, you were driving towards your career, but I would imagine from your personal side, when you did kind of have a moment to yourself, which was probably kind of rare.
Yeah.
To sit back and, what the fuck am I doing? I fucking hate this city. I'm working way too many hours. Was that going on? Like, what was that like when you're trying to balance your, like, hey, I'm trying to like make more money, learn things,
Good question. That's a really good question. I don't know, but let's try to pull that out of me. Atlanta, I did not like. Did not like the city. I didn't like the job. It was
Well, the
hard.
job sucked,
The job's a hard job.
but it was a low level job.
Yeah, it wasn't that necessarily low level. It's just was like not very rewarding.
And it was kind of a low level job, right? It was like,
But at the time, I didn't know that.
Right,
I
right.
thought I was riding high, man. I was 23, and I had
yeah,
like 12 people reporting to me. 23 years old,
that's a lot. That's a
and I
lot.
had a company call.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're the
and I was
shit, man.
making,
Bitches be everywhere.
I was making 60 grand, 65 grand.
Which is a lot from 45 or 42, where you started at.
Yeah. So it was
From
not,
42 to 60,
It
you're
was
like,
not that like the job wasn't well paying. It was just like this is not very. But for sure, Atlanta, I felt that way. But when I moved to Milwaukee, the job was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The job. I learned a lot. And it was a lot more challenging. It was different, way different than what to your point, I didn't want to be in Milwaukee, the city. I was a 23, 24-year-old kid. And I didn't want to be in Milwaukee. I looked at Milwaukee as like this industrial, kind of run down,
Backwards.
cold city, which was not right, but it was my viewpoint.
Yeah, you were a young kid at the time.
Yeah, and I wasn't even exposed to most of the good things about it.
Or here's the thing, like as a 23-year-old, you wouldn't value them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you'd value them as a 28-year-old, but you wouldn't value those things.
And I did value them as a 20.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What I didn't see at the time was, most of my friends were still in California.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that, but I didn't like that. But pull this out. Milwaukee was not what I wanted to be at the time. It was just not the 25-year-old kid or 24-year-old kid. I just didn't want to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I just had this block in my mind. Just not a place to be. So that's why I said I need to get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to Germany.
You almost went to Australia.
I did almost go to Australia. I just wanted out. I don't know if that was right or wrong, but it was where I was.
Yeah,
I needed to get the fuck out. I need to get out. I felt constrained. I felt right, wrong, and different. I don't know.
Yeah, so
let's need to get the hell out of it.
Let's pause right there.
I had a girl that I'd spent time with that I really liked that didn't work out, and I think that was one piece of it. But at the same time, also didn't. The company was on a different place, and the opportunities were not clear to me. And I was like, "Fuck, personal, professional. I don't know if I should be here."
So let's pause right there. So I think a lot of people. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but I think.
No sleeping, Tim.
I was just burping. Remind me to say.
Well, what I'm getting at is that it really maybe it had nothing to do with all the surrounding elements. It was that like you wanted to like go see the world, and so it's like you could have been in a different city, right, at a different job, but you might have still been like agitated, right, and you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, right? Because there's almost something about being 24, 25, 26 years old where you're like, you have a moment in time and you'll never get it back. And so it's a lot harder to go change your life later than it is when you're single and 25.
That's so what I just said. I wanted to say that was the age in my life, literally. Like it started to,
It started to eat at you.
it started to rear its head. I'd say at 23. Like it started to become aware of it by 25. It was like banging on the door.
And you can't explain it in words at the time. Like you cannot articulate it.
Because, and I, like for my specific experience to be 25 and have been farming my entire life. This is what I've essentially, in a lot of ways, committed my whole, like my future to. And there's just something like, dude, you gotta upend your whole life, move across the country. Like I don't know, maybe for men, like maybe it could be later you can, but now at that age it was like you could be like, okay, do something totally different.
Yeah, I mean, I would say only until a few years ago, I would have fallen into this category. Like, I would say that there's a lot of things that are unexplainable in words that like something inside of me wanted to be disrupted. And so like I was going to disrupt whatever situation I was in because the situation I was in, for whatever reason, like I didn't like it, didn't want it, couldn't have it. And so like that manifested itself in my career, but it also manifested myself in a lot of my personal relationships. And so like at that time, like it wasn't that like Milwaukee wasn't meeting your needs. And I'm not even talking about the city or the company or both. It was that you're like, dude, nothing can meet my needs right now. My needs are to go fucking go around the world, right? And it was like I gotta expend this energy and it didn't matter if it was in Stuttgart or in another place
Right.
or whatever. It was like you had all this pent up energy to like do shit with. And so like you think about like you went into this like fitness craze for a while.
Yeah,
right?
it was fuck shit, dude.
Yeah.
Well, you're still the shit. No,
No, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
but I looked like you, Tim.
you look like
so
me now.
you went into this fitness craze for a while, right? Can you imagine had you not gotten into that, how disruptive you would have been? Because you spend all this energy.
Yeah.
Like you would have destroyed yourself. I don't know. It's just like an outside thing. And like there's times in my life where I think like had I not done certain things that were actually, I don't know, you can look at them as healthy or unhealthy, but some of them, man, they could have gone a whole different way, and they could have been super unhealthy. And so I think of Stuttgart, it was like, because right before that, I was like, might have been not even 6 months before, like, I'm going to fucking Australia.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody, your boss at the time, was like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying like, hey, you're not thinking through this. And you're like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like I want to go to Australia.
That's right.
And then it then turned into Germany, which kind of was a dramatic thing. And maybe it was just dramatic in your head.
No, it was super dramatic. Yeah, it was very dramatic.
Yeah.
I have the same boss today.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Paul is a great guy. He's taught me a lot. He's given me great opportunities. But the guy you're talking about that put the kibosh on Australia and ultimately was a part of some of the challenge with me going to Europe is my boss today.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a great relationship.
Yeah.
That's evolved over time.
Do you think he understood you at the time? You're a 24-year-old guy.
Of course he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so he didn't know you didn't think you were just a prick. It was that like you might have been a prick, but you also were just a person that had pent up energy.
Yeah, I think
and had a lot of ambition.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that both sides understand where we both were at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Paul referred to that portion of my life as, Cole, you're unsettled. And I think that's a good way to say it.
Sure.
You don't know what you want, but you know that you want something different.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
That completely articulates how I felt.
Yeah, and hey, Cole, I don't think that's the best thing for you. You were right. He was right. He was right.
But you had to go through it to figure it out.
And I needed to go through it, and I needed to figure that out. And luckily he agreed to me coming back, and he was reluctant in the beginning, but ultimately agreed to it. And I think it's been fruitful for him and for me and for Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Super fruitful. And we both respect each other more because of my Australia stint, or possible stint, and my Europe stint. So it, as humans, especially in the modern era, we try to like create like two different teams of people. We're on the same. Me and Paul are on the same team, and sure, at certain times we disagree about shit, but both of us were right in our own way, and we both understand that.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's just an interesting, and it's almost like I don't know, somebody who paid attention to it more and understands it, maybe studies it, could articulate it. I can't even articulate it right now, and I've been through it, right? And you've been through it, and you've been through it. But it's like there's a time in my life where like I was just disruptive, and I didn't know what I wanted, but I fucking didn't like what I fucking had.
Yeah.
And I had to just grind it out to find out, and then, I didn't give a shit who was in my way, right? Like. It didn't matter who was my boss or my boss's boss or my boss's boss's boss. I was like, everybody's in my fucking way. And I don't know. I would imagine, it seems like that was going on with you at the time of Australia, Stuttgart. And then for several years when you got back to, you're just bouncing off the boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll say that I met Emily and we kind of settled in a little bit. We got a lot more settled down.
Yeah.
Between like 2015, 16 through 2020.
Yeah, had you not met Emily, you would have left.
when Carson was born, like
Probably.
we settled in a bunch, and we both grew our careers in a great way, and learned a lot. But yeah, had I not met Emily, I would have. I would have been that long. I may not be here.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Emily was a great influence on my life for sure,
Mhm.
in terms of settling in a little bit and being comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, I have a tendency, and I think it comes from my dad. I have a tendency to,
Shout out to Mark.
if you want to call it that. Yeah, I have a tendency to be anxious. I have a tendency to be concerned about the future, you know. And I think Emily's been a great influence on that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think that's like, it's probably fairly common again for most men or people. You're going to speak to men, but
Oh, I think so too.
I this all spurred a question. What I know between Kyle moving here to Bozeman, but I guess what
Kyle's a bitch.
Why you gotta disrespect the host like that, man?
what how about the
Can I tell my side of the story?
Here we go.
what spurred the whole movement for you to move here?
What do you think it is before I answer?
Kyle was here. What are you? So
Is that your
what do
belief?
you got to say to that?
Is that your belief? Is that your belief? I'm
No.
serious.
What? He was here before you?
Why do you think I moved?
I don't know. Did you probably want to be around family? It's a cool spot.
Yeah. Kyle, what do you think?
This isn't my interview.
Yeah, but I asked you a question.
I think that you thought you wanted to live in a place in which people kind of live this lifestyle, and so I think you just wanted to change your lifestyle.
Yeah. And I'll add. I could add a second answer to your original question. So my sister and brother-in-law both went to school here, and they
Rich?
Yeah, Rich and Katie. They moved back here, I guess 2-3 years ago, and essentially they have 2 kids now, but they sort of decided they wanted to raise their kids here, and I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Because then they were coming from Seattle, which is what it is. But so I mean that could be a large part of why you'd want to come here and raise your kids here. It's a beautiful city and a great place to live and raise kids.
Yeah. Yeah. My answer is my answer is not that simple, but here's my version of the truth. And Emily might call BS on this, Kyle might call BS on this, or you might call BS on this, because Tim, I've known you for 3 or 4 years now. But Kyle and I and Chase and Mark and Gayla grew up camping. Eastern side of the Sierra, as I mentioned, Bridgeport, Bishop. And so we like that. But one of the places that most Americans, at least in our era, grew up dreaming about is Yellowstone in Montana, Wyoming. So when I moved to Milwaukee, I thought, shit, there's no mountains near here. This sucks. But Yellowstone's not that far away. And I've always wanted to go there. So in 2014, when I met Emily in 2013, but in 2014 I planned a trip to go to near Yellowstone. And I planned to meet my buddy Ben Miller, who lives in Sacramento, California, who I played soccer with. Kyle knows well. Dude, we camped just outside of Cook City, Montana. I stuffed Emily in a car. She never camped, in a tent in her life. Stuffed her in a car for Labor Day weekend, and we drove out here, 1920 out, and spent a week camping at Lily Lake, which is outside of Cook City. And I said, shit, I want to move here. And I looked at Emily and said, I want to move to Cook City. And she's like, what the fuck are we going to do in Cook City? You ever been to Cook City?
No.
You got to get about it, or we got to get about it. Mm-hmm. Cook City is a small town just outside of Yellowstone. The hell are we going to do?
Fucking nothing there.
I don't know what we're doing in Cook City, Emily, but I want to move here. This was 2014, so this is 10 years ago. Well, long story short, the next 3 years, I'm sorry for, dragging the shit on, but the next 3 or 4 years, we came to the same place. Same general vicinity, different camping spots, but same general vicinity. And Emily started to fall in love with the place. And we were like, all right, we got to do it. And then probably 2018 or so, Emily and I were like, you know what? We shouldn't live in Milwaukee anymore. We should figure out where we're going to live. And she was down to move to the Mountain West. So we flew into Spokane, Washington. I think it was 2018. And we spent a couple days in Coeur d'Alene. This is before my parents owned a house there. My parents had never been there. But my uncle, Kurt, I don't know if you've met my uncle, Kurt, had always talked positively about Coeur d'Alene. So that's why I knew about it. Let's go spend, a weekend in Coeur d'Alene. Let's drive to Missoula. Let's spend a couple days in Missoula. Let's drive to Bozeman. Let's spend a couple days in Bozeman. So that's what we did. We spent a couple days in Coeur d'Alene. We spent a couple days in Missoula, a couple days in Bozeman. And we were kind of torn. Coeur d'Alene and Bozeman are great places. What should we do? And then my parents decided they wanted to move. And they came up to Coeur d'Alene. And I'd like to think that Emily and I kind of nudged them to look in the area. So they looked up here, and Emily and I went on our honeymoon in Norway. And we were on a train in Oslo, which is the capital of Norway. And I sent a message to my dad, a Zillow link, of a beautiful log cabin, which you've been to this log cabin. Dad, you should go check this log cabin out. It's on the east side of the lake. Okay.
And Mom and Dad were getting on a plane in a few hours at that point. Like they had been looking at real estate for days.
So, yeah, okay, I'll check it out. So he actually goes to check it out. He likes it. He ends up buying it. It's before you moved to Bozeman. Mm-hmm. But, I've been talking about Bozeman with Kyle and stuff. So the next year, Kyle moved to Bozeman. So my parents had bought a house in Coeur d'Alene in 2018 and 2019, I think. You moved to Bozeman.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be because I'll say two things. I was
January 2019.
September 2019 when I moved to Bozeman.
Okay.
And then Kyle has said multiple times, me and my brother Cole have talked about moving here forever.
Yeah. So that's great to hear. The background is Emily and I camped here, loved it. And started talking about it with the family, and the family started to like it, right? So Kyle came, and my parents came. And then, a couple years go by, and we have Carson in December of 2020. And we've been talking for years, and Kyle and Jason will tell you, Cole's been talking about moving to Bozeman for fucking ever. He's a pussy, whatever.
Probably the exact words that came out of Kyle's mouth.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. We have Carson in 2020, and I look at him and I'm like, we gotta actually do this. We gotta do what we want with our lives. It's stupid to just, not follow what you don't want to do. And my family's already there. Let's go. So in May of 21, no, May of, fuck. Sorry.
I'm trying to.
I screwed up the timeline. May of 2020, before we had Carson, Emily was pregnant. We came to stay with Kyle,
Mm-hmm.
and we told Kyle Emily's pregnant. My parents Emily was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And this is when we started to get actually serious about let's move, because a lot of people are recalibrating on priorities.
Yeah, because this is COVID.
May 2020, man, like 2 months in, 3 months in.
I was going to say, I think, because my sister had my nephew here, but I think they were in Seattle. I want to say she got pregnant when they were in Seattle, and they had started looking here. But kind of very similar trajectory to what you guys were on.
So.
And you guys are. I mean, I know your son and my nephew are right about the same age too.
We're out.
Yeah.
2020, middle of 2020, we got to do this. So we started getting serious. We got a realtor. We started really looking at places in town, and we knew we wanted to be here. And at this point, Kyle and my parents were already here, which is great. But that was the impetus, man. We started camping many years ago, and kind of talked my parents and Kyle into the area, and they took the bait a lot sooner than we did, and I'm glad they did. And I'm super fortunate and really happy that we were able to spend as much time with Kyle as we have since we moved here, and my parents as well. Because prior to that, Kyle, when you were out taking a week, Kyle was like, I want to learn about what you did in Atlanta. I want to learn about your life in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think you did say because there was like a lot of years you guys been spent together.
Yeah, so it's really great. I'm super fortunate to be able to be here, and clearly I don't spend as much time with the family as I'd like to, but I spend more now than I did a couple years ago.
Me, two things I was gonna say. I don't know if you knew this, but me and Kyle went and looked.
You dog fucked?
Yeah. After, but first, we went and looked at the place my sister and brother-in-law lived in. They bought it sight unseen, but we essentially looked at it for them. What was the second thing I was gonna say?
Oh, no.
It's tired.
It's bullshit. But his joke, he threw me off. Can't remember.
Yeah, you guys were dog fucking. Who was the dog fucking? Who was doing the fucking?
Jesus Christ.
You know, I could fucking kill you with a bare hand skull
Yeah,
Easily.
live on the podcast.
I understand.
Right.
Did I piss you off that much to do that though? Can I go be?
Finally. This fucking guy.
Jesus. I think he.
Did he? I don't think he did.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he did outside.
Pete outside
I never pissed again, too.
of his own house. Go.
Well, he went that way, so where do I go?
Upstairs. All right, we gotta wrap this thing up.
We
We
do.
gotta go to sleep.
Me too. Straight, left, right?
Huh?
Straight, left, right?
Just straight. You want to be?
What were you guys going to? Kyle, we could go for about 3 more hours. Yeah.
No, man. I gotta sleep.
Why?
I'm tired. You don't have to. Talk about everything. One podcast.
What are you gonna do tomorrow?
I got all kinds of shit to do. House projects.
Is Katie back in Illinois?
She is.
When
Can't
did
talk.
you-
You can't talk about that on the podcast.
when did you? You can fucking edit it out, dude. Chill. Shit.
She leaves in like 5 weeks to go to Chile.
Why can't you talk about it on the podcast?
She lives in 5 weeks. She lives in
Is
5
it fucking private or some shit?
Yeah, that's my life. You know what I'm saying?
You've been talking about my life.
Because that's volunteer.
Oh, Tim upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, you got some editing.
I think Kyle's tired.
You got some editing lately in this podcast.
AI will take care of it all.
Tim, what I was trying to say to Kyle was
Chill.
we can do about 3 more hours if you guys want, but he says he's tired. So, how are we doing here compared to your expectations? And how are we doing compared to other podcasts you guys have done?
Don't worry about it.
I think you're doing great. I think it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. There are no.
Did you learn anything with this idiot you didn't know?
Not really.
I
mean, yeah, I probably mostly.
Well, then ask me 2 questions. Something you want to know.
I can't.
It's perfect.
Not on the podcast.
Just ask me.
That would just ruin everything.
What do you mean? Just ask.
I'm joking.
What do you want to know?
No, I
What are you burning to know? Because when Tim went pee the first time about 2 hours ago, you were like, there's a couple phases of your life I don't know that much about. What do you want to know? Because I've had a couple drinks, I'm feeling raised. I'm trying to see the chitties and shit.
Oh,
God damn it. Nice. Conrad.
Better edit that out too.
What are you talking about? This is going to be the premiere clip.
Mm-hmm.
You got to load the gun and put it in the drawer.
Don't remember I got a job, dude. Don't forget I got a job.
What do you mean?
Don't be putting that shit on me.
It's all going out. You signed the waiver.
I didn't say shit.
Bullshit. Can't even afford your signature. It's your brother.
Yeah, I could.
Come on, Kyle. What are you interested about, man?
Nothing really, man. Yeah.
All right. What do you got? What's coming up this summer? What do you got? What are your goals?
What can we expect from you in the near future,
Yeah.
Cole?
Yeah, come on. If we're gonna do this again, which we are, we're gonna.
Where can people find you on social?
Oh, shut the fuck up. Cole. If we're gonna do this again in 6 months or a year, we're just like, all right, Cole. Did you do the shit you said you're gonna do? What do you want to do?
Yeah,
Where are you at now? Where do you
move
want to be?
Did you move to Cook City or what?
We'll call you out. It's recorded. So we can look back.
You guys are ready to be done. It's kind of what I'm picking up.
No, just put you on the spot. Answer the question.
Yeah, but it just kind of feels like the last question. Is that what I'm putting up?
Yeah, maybe.
You guys are ready to be.
We're getting that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's freaking almost midnight.
All right. Well, we can go for 3 more hours.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm down. That's fine.
What are we going to talk about?
And how long has it taken us to get into this groove?
Oh, you want to stay in the groove?
We're in the groove. Why would we not stay in the groove?
Do you want to spend the night?
Yeah.
You want to spend the night?
I don't care. Well, I want to hear the answer to the question.
Because here's the thing: if I'm going to stay, I'm going to have another drink, and I'm spending the night, which means I'm not driving you home.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay, so
What's that?
guys, here's the deal. Of course you're welcome to spend the night. Like, easy. I got a couple beds.
Mm-hmm.
I got plenty of blankets. I got plenty of food. I got, whatever.
You can have blankets.
You guys can be comfortable here if that's what you want to do. I'll cook you a nice breakfast.
I don't freaking stay up till 3 in the morning ever anymore.
I'll give you a nice coffee. It'll be great. I don't know what you have going on. If you guys don't want to spend the night, I'm not going to shame you. If you guys want to head out, I'll answer this question and we can fucking do whatever.
You better answer this question either way.
Yeah, I will. But it's up to you guys how you guys want to spend the next couple hours. Whatever you guys want.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to do in the next year? Is that your question?
So if we're going to have you back on 6 months or a year, what's the goal? Where are you at now? Did you do what you said you did? What do you want to do? We'll call you up.
So the weather, it's May 9th or 10th? What's the date?
10.
10.
The weather in Bozeman, Montana is good. 2 days ago it was shit. It snowed 8 inches at Kyle's house. It snowed 8 inches at Tim's house. The weather's good. And for the next few months it's going to be good. I want to make sure I take my boys and Emily out on the boat 6 or 8 times this summer. Do some fishing, get out in the sun, experience the outdoors. One of my main goals. Another goal, I was thinking about buying a trailer to tow behind the Land Cruiser for camping, but I decided it's best to rent a few different ones to get a feel for them. And I want to rent at least 3 times a different trailer to go camping with the boys. Those are my main things I want to do. And I want to spend a bunch of time outside, cook some nice dinners. We poured a slab underneath the pergola 2-3 weeks ago. Want to spend some time out there. So some pretty simple shit.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty simple shit.
All right. I like it. We're going to wrap it up there.
Okay?
Let's do it. Thanks. Like the fucking longest one in history. Whoa.
Longest? Was
I
it?
think 40.
I think the only ones longer than that was when me and Kyle were just fucking hammered doing it with just me and him.
Oh.
We got to fucking.
Did those go public or no?
We got to burn it up. We're burning it.
Why?
We got home at like, midnight and then
Killed the HQ back.
That's when you started it at midnight?
Yeah.
and we'd already been drinking.
Did you stay the night at Kyle's house?
I think it was home or something.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta move this table too.
Just a little bit like this and be like, Emily. I thought about thinking this is how I actually like it. This fucking shit. Throw that camera in your bag, would you?
Was it?
Yeah.
Wait, you? Yeah, no.
Yeah,
This was live recorded.
No.
Good session for all.